Hai, Assalamualaikum. We are from Girls Power.
Today I will share to you guys about the anatomy of digestion tract. Okay, for anatomy digestion is the process of breaking down food into the nutrient in preparation for absorption. Okay, in the digestion in this process, it involves the gastrointestinal tract, which is the flexible muscular tube from mouth to anus. Process is occur in the mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. Then it will return to anus. Okay, for the first is mouth. In mouth, the function and involves four parts, which is ingestion, digestion, secretion, and transport. Okay, for in the ingestion, food is voluntarily placed into oral cavity. Okay, for digestion, chewing by teeth, mixing movement by tongue, and moistening by saliva. Okay, third is secretion. Secretion enzyme, which is salivary amylase. In saliva will occur chemical breakdown of the starch and lingual lipids. The lingual lipids is add on fats. Okay, next for transportation. Transportation, a voluntary phase of swallowing initiated by tongue that move from into the pharynx. Okay, after mouth, it will swallow to pharynx. For pharynx, is only occur the function of transport, which is food is compacted by the tongue into a bolus. Okay, by swallowing, it will divide into two major of phase, which is for the first is buccal phase in mouth. It is voluntary, and for the second is pharyngeal esophageal phase. It is involuntary. Next, after pharynx, we will move to esophagus. By esophagus, it's only about transport. Food is squeezes through the pharynx into the esophagus by the peristaltic contraction. During a swallow, the upper esophageal sphincter opens, and the bolus then slide down the esophagus with pass through a hole in the diaphragm to the stomach. Is a short tube which is shared by both the digestive system and the respiratory system, and also pharynx to bypass the entrance to lungs. The epiglottis closes off air passengers to the no choking happen.
Tiga.
Okay, yang keempat is stomach. Then stomach that is involves also four, which is digestion, secretion, absorption, and transport. Okay, first digestion, peristaltic wave need food with gastric juice, which is kernel. And then for secretion, it do HCl. HCl for prepare protein for digestion, activate enzyme. And last, protease is pepsin, they begin protein digestion. Next to gastric lipase, some fat digestion, and also plus gastrin, hormones stimulate gastric secretion and movement. And next, plus intrinsic factor that need for absorption of vitamin B12. Let's move to absorption. For absorption, it absorbs a few fat-soluble substances, which is aspirin, alcohol, and also sun drops. Next, for lastly, transport in the stomach. Stomach will deliver prime into the small intestine. Next, let's move to small intestine. For small intestine, also involve four functions: digestion, secretion, and absorption. And for transport, move food along the tract and slow rate 3 to 6 hours, and more renance of the milk into the colon after loss of the nutrient digestion is fermentation. The mixed food is digestive juice, which is chemically digested by the enzyme. Next, for secretion. Secretion is digesting enzyme, intestinal and pancreatic enzyme that's complete digestion of all classes of food. And it's also plus bicarbonate. For bicarbonate, neutralize stomach acid. The small intestine receives digestive juice from the gallbladder and the pancreas. Okay, lastly, it is absorption. For absorption, the product of the digestion are absorbed by active ATP dependence and passive by diffusion mechanism. And the most nutrients are absorbed are here at the small intestine. Absorption. For absorption, most remaining water, electrolyte, largely and nutrients, calcium and also chloride, and vitamin reproduce bacteria. And last but not least is elimination. They eliminate phases from the body. As the content pass the rectum, the colon withdraw water and leaving semi-solid waste and strong muscle of the rectum and can hold back this waste until it is time to defecate. Then after last intestine, it will return to the anus. And that's only the process at the anatomy, digestive tract. Betul?
Okay, now I'm gonna to explain you about the muscles action of digestion. This is chyme. This is circular muscle are the inside and the longitudinal muscle are outside. The inner circular muscles contract, tightening the tube and pushes the food forward in intestines. Then the circular muscles relax and longitudinal muscles contract and the intestinal tube is loose. After that, circular and longitudinal muscles tighten and relax. The chymes move forward ahead of constriction. Now, segmentation. Segmentation is circular muscles contract, creating segments within the intestine. Each set of circular muscles relax and contracts. The chyme is broken up and mixed with digestive juice. Last, these are 13 contractions, occurring 12 to 16 times per minute. Continue to mix the chyme and bring the nutrients into contact with the intestinal lining for absorption. Alright, now I will explain you about stomach muscles. Stomach muscles have 3 muscles in it. It is longitudinal at here, diagonal and circular muscle. This is circular muscle. Stop. Okay, all of these muscles work to force the chyme downward, but pyloric sphincter usually tightly closed to prevent the chyme from pressing into the duodenum of small intestine. As a result, the chyme is churned and forced down, hits the pyloric sphincter and remains in stomach. Stomach will release gastric juice. The chyme will completely liquefy with gastric juice. The pyloric sphincter opens briefly for 3 times a minute to allow small portions of chyme to pass through. At this point, the chyme no longer resembles food in the knees. Next is sphincter contraction muscle. It's periodically open and close, allowing the contents of GI to move along at controlled pace. At the top of esophagus, the upper esophageal sphincter opens in response to swallowing. At the bottom of esophagus, the lower esophageal sphincter prevents reflux of the stomach contents. at the bottom stomach, the pyloric sphincter stays closed most of the time, holds the chyme in stomach long enough for it to be mixed with gastric juice and liquefied. The pyloric sphincter also prevents intestinal contents from backing up into stomach. Small intestine ileocecal valve performs similar function, allow the contents of small intestine to empty into the large intestine. Lastly, the tightness of rectal muscles acts as a safety device, together with two sphincters of anus to prevent continuous elimination.
Move to the secretion of digestion. Secretion of digestion is the breakdown the food into nutrients to our body that require secretion from 5 organs.
3.
The first is salivary gland, second stomach, 3 pancreas, 4 liver via gallbladder, 5th is small intestine. Salivary gland secreted saliva into mouth that contain of salt, mucus and enzyme. Saliva we moisten the food to easily pass down to the esophagus. Saliva also contain water, mucus and salt and enzyme that initiate the digestion of carbohydrate. So, besides that, saliva also protect our teeth and lining of mouth and stomach from become damaged. Next is a gastric gland. Gastric gland will secrete gastric juice. Gastric juice contain water, enzyme and hydrochloric acid, which is HCl. The goblet flat of the stomach wall we secreted the mucus to protect the wall of our stomach from get any bacteria inside that. So, strong acid of stomach we prevent the growth of the bacteria and kill the bacteria that enter to our body with the food. Is a pancreas. Inside the pancreas, we conceive a pancreatic duct that also known as pancreatic juice. Pancreas we secreted pancreatic juice that contain external enzyme which is carbohydrate, lipids and proteins and bicarbonate ion. Next, with in the liver, we also have the bile duct that store in the gallbladder that release into the small intestine and also act as on a emulsifier for fat. That's all.
Okay, we move to final stage of digestion. At the final stage, the 3 energy yielding nutrients, which is carbohydrate, fat and protein, have been digested and ready to absorb, while some vitamins and minerals are altered slightly during digestion, but most of vitamins and minerals are absorbed. Undigested residue such as some fiber, small amount of some fiber that remain after the main part digest and some of fiber not absorbed. Instead, they are continued through the digestive tract, carrying some minerals, bile acids, additives and contaminants out of body. there is some solid mass, which is substance that is in between a solid and liquid, help exercise the GI muscle and keep them strong enough to perform peristalsis efficiently. That fiber also retains water, accounting for the consistency of stools. By the time the contents of the GI tract reach the ends of the small intestine, little remains but water, a few dissolved salts, and body secretion and undigested material such as fiber with some fat, cholesterol, and a few minerals bound to it. All of this remain matter will enter the large intestine, which is colon. In the colon, intestinal bacteria ferment some fiber, producing water, gas, and small fragments of fat that provide energy for the body can recycle water and dissolve salt. The waste that is finally excreted has little or nothing of value in it. The body has extracted all that it can use from the food. Okay, let's
continue with the absorption. As the food gets broken down into smaller and simpler particles, the body must find a way to absorb the nutrient that derive from the food. So most of the absorption takes place in the small intestine. Okay, for the absorption of the nutrient, first of all, there are three ways to absorb the nutrient, which is the simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. Okay, for the simple diffusion, nutrients such as water and small lipid is absorbed by the simple diffusion, so they can cross into intestinal cell freely. Okay, for the facilitated diffusion, nutrients such as water-soluble vitamin absorbed by the facilitated diffusion, they need a specific carrier to transport them from one membrane to another. For the active transport, nutrients such as glucose and amino acid must absorb it again, move again concentration gradient and requires energy. Next, we will move to the small intestinal villi. Absorption of nutrient occurs by simple diffusion or active transport. The wall of the small intestine is wrinkled into thousands of folds and covered with villi. This is the fold that covered by villi on them, and there is a circular muscle and the longitudinal muscles. Then, a villus is composed of hundreds of cells. There is a lacteal, capillaries, goblet cells, and each of the villus is covered with even a smaller projection called microvilli. Microvilli provide absorptive surface allow nutrient pass through. For the specific enzyme and pump for each nutrient, the number one is the specialization in the GI tract. The cell of successive portion of intestinal tract specialize to absorb different nutrients. The nutrients that ready to absorb early are absorbed near the top of GI, and those that take longer to digest are absorbed farther down. The second one is myth of the food compound. All the idea that people should not eat food combination, for example, fruit and meat at same meal is not true, because some food can be eaten together. That eaten together can enhance their each other's used by the body. For example, vitamin C in the pineapple and other citrus food can enhance the absorption of iron from a meal of chicken and rice. That's all for me. Thank you.